Hi Spring fans! Welcome to another installment of Spring Tips. This week, after a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States, we're going to continue our tour of all things at Controller. This time, deep diving into the RSocket protocol and its integration in Spring. Now, to be fair, I've already done another much more exhaustive look at RSocket before, so I'm going to encourage you to please check that out after you've watched this one. Consider this a quick refresher on all things RSocket. But if you want the goods, you want to really get deep into the weeds, then you got to check out that original video. Let's get started. All right, now let's build a RSocket endpoint. RSocket, of course, is a binary protocol that was created by engineers at Facebook. The point of RSocket is to get around some of the limitations of HTTP 1.x and 2.x and gRPC and the like. It is payload agnostic. You can send binary data, you can send XML, you can send JSON, you can send whatever you like. It's well supported in Spring Boot. All you need to do is to tell Spring Boot Starter to create an RSocket server. So I'll do so here on port 8181. And then you can create a controller thusly. And the support here will look more like the support in the WebSocket example than it does in the HTTP example, but it's still a controller. So we're going to say greeting RSocket controller. And we're going to create a record here. Greeting, string name, and we can actually create a greetings request and a greetings response. All right, now we've got a greetings. Let's say it's a greetings plural. We don't know. Who knows? We can't be sure. All right, we're going to create an endpoint here using the message mapping annotation, and the endpoint will be greetings, and we're going to return a single value, okay, a greetings response, given a greetings request. So we'll say return new greetings response, hello request dot name, and that's it. That's a simple value. Now, in RSocket, you have different message exchange models. So in this case, I'm sending a single value in, I'm getting a single value back. That's request response. If I were to send in multiple values in, or just a single value in, and get us multiple values back, that would be streaming. If I were to send in multiple values concurrent with the multiple values being sent back, that is to say it's like a chat where there's constantly a stream of new values and constantly a stream of outgoing values, that's called channel. If I were to do a single value in, but no response at all, where the client neither accepts or expects a response, that's called fire and forget. And you can imagine this is very useful to be able to tell the client, just send the data and then disengage. You don't have to keep the socket open. There's nothing coming. That's a performance optimization. And it's one of those things where it seems so obvious when you think about it, but we don't have that in a lot of other protocols. So here we go. Here's our simple greetings endpoint. Let's try that out. There's a great client I like to use called RSC, TCP localhost. You can just do brew install. I think it's mocking, MAKING, /RSC. I'm pretty sure it's something like that. It's written by one of my all-time favorite people, my colleague Toshiaki Maki. He's amazing. All right, so TCP 8181. The route will be greetings, and the data that we're sending in, well, it's going to be a JSON payload. We're going to convert it en route. So the name will be Jane. Okay, so there's my single value back. All right, good. Now, what if we want to send a request with a parameter instead? So instead of having this whole object, I'll just have something called a destination variable name, right? Okay, so now I'm going to generate a stream, replace it with a lambda, and this stream I'll delay for. So I'm going to delay it by 1 second. I'll just take 10, let's say, and voila. So this will be an example of a streaming interaction. See, when it says, see, I tried to make the request and it's saying, hey, you're trying to do a request response, which is the default for RSC, but I need to actually specify what exchange model I want. So I want stream. And there you go. A new value every second for 10 seconds. Okay, thus far everything's been working assuming that the name is capital letters, but obviously I need to validate that. So we'll say assert is true, name.car@0, character.is uppercase, and we'll say the name should start with a capital letter. Okay, very good. And if something goes wrong, well, we can use our old friend, the message exception handler. So string handle exception, return a message. So we're going to say var message equals there's been a problem. Nested exception utils, get most specific cause, return message error. Okay, there we are. So let's go ahead and see what that does. Okay, so capital letters, no more. So we'll say John, lowercase j, and that throws an exception. I got the string back instead of whatever response I wanted, right? It's actually been communicated to the client in a way that I can control. There's been a problem, right? This is the same as we've seen before, and you can even put this in a controller advice, just like before. Well, that was a short and sweet look at RSocket controllers and the integration specifically with the @controller component model. Obviously, we've only just begun to scratch the surface here. We focused on it in terms of the @controller component model and the integration therein. But we didn't really focus on the protocol as a whole or the wider possibilities like building conversational and bidirectional flows using RSocket. We didn't look at how to use Spring integration to build reactive RSocket messaging flows. We didn't use the Spring Cloud Stream RSocket binder. We didn't look at how to use Spring Security to secure RSocket. We didn't look at the RSocket requester, which you can use to make requests to other RSocket services. And more broadly, we didn't even look at reactive programming really here and how that interacts with the binary protocol. So there's a lot to cover. And again, I want to encourage you to just check out that original video. Well, that does it for this week, but obviously there's more to be covered. I just mentioned all the possible expansion points in the Spring ecosystem itself, but beyond that, RSocket is a part of the larger reactive foundation, which in turn has an RSocket routing broker that's worth looking at as well. And RSocket is being taken up by, again, companies like Facebook, companies like Alibaba, and so on. So these large organizations are using RSocket at scale, and they're building amazing things as well. The future is bright for RSocket, and I hope you'll check it out.